Hello, welcome back to Writing Wednesday. Another sneak peek for you, a little talk about one of my books. So, today I am going to be talking about the Lightwood Legacy. Excuse me, terrible handwriting and half-ass little signs here that are way not cute. Anyway, the Lightwood Legacy. I love this book as well. It is not as long as Guardian. It is not a novella though, like my other stories, like The Summer I Gave Up Voice. Basically what it is about Philomena Church, and she goes to a private boarding school in Pennington Bay, Pennsylvania. And excuse me, get a drink. Talking too much. Gather my thoughts here. I'm sorry. I totally lost it. It follows her basically with the Lightwood twins. She goes to school with Thomas Lightwood, and her and Tom, they've never been really good friends, but they are sort of study buddies. They're both the top people in their class. They're juniors. Sorry, do you like how I forget the details of my own story? I swear, seriously, like, I wrote it, you think I would know. It's totally scatterbrained. They are juniors. They've just been kind of okay friends. Tom's pretty good looking, and Lo is a very sort of sarcastic and not as much as Kalia, if you happen to have read the bits of that story. But Lo, she's a little bit sarcastic. She is an artist and she takes that very seriously. That's kind of her thing, and so she's more part of like an artsy fartsy kind of crowd. And so one night when our story opens, she is leaving the library late at night and sees Tom bent over and doubled over in pain. And she's like, "Tom, what's the matter with you? What's wrong?" And he's freaking out, and he's like, "Don't touch me." And she's like, "Okay, you know, we need to call an ambulance. What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "Is that you, Lo?" Because he's all like doubled over in pain. And she's like, "Yes." And he's like, "I was looking for you," and touches her, and there's this explosion of white light, and Lo kind of gets knocked out. And when she wakes up again, Tom is no longer there, and she is still in the front yard of Pennington Bay Academy. So she goes to her room. She's kind of not really sure what had happened. She tries to talk to Tom about it the next day. He is not giving her anything, and he basically told her she imagined the whole thing. He's like, "If I was sick, why am I at school today? Like, what's wrong with you?" So Lo's kind of like, "What?" And so she kind of lets it go for the moment and thinks that she might have let it go for a long time. But there is this little to-do in the actual town of Pennington. There's Pennington the town, and then Pennington Bay Academy. They're like a mile away from each other, so it's kind of like outside of town. And someone is murdered, and they're kind of all, it was on a day when the students were allowed to go into the town, sort of not really a field trip, but on the weekends, you know, they allow excursions, whatever you want to call it. There is a murder. It's one of the students from the school, and everyone's kind of crowding around trying to see, you know, what it was, and Lo hears Tom's voice actually in her head. And so she is like freaking out and confronts Tom, kind of like, it's like, "You need to tell me what's going on," because of some of the stuff that she heard. And so how much do I want to tell you? Tom agrees to tell her the truth, and come to find out, he has bonded with her, and they now have this connection. I don't want to go in and explain too much of what it is. How much do I need to tell you to entice you but not to spoil anything for you? It's supposed to be a bond out of love, and Tom is not really in love with Lo for reasons that I will not entirely say. But she kind of has like a little bit of a crush on him. And then Tom's twin brother, who used to go to Pennington Bay but then stopped at 8th grade, he comes onto the scene, and he is your typical kind of bad boy, la-di-da-di-da, and he is kind of sarcastic and very dry, just like Lo. And they have a lot in common, except that going into the biggest cliche, Tom is the good twin and Jonathan is the bad twin, because in their family, with this whole bonding thing that I'm not telling you everything about because I don't want to spoil everything for you, each twin has to pick a path of light or darkness. That sounds like, I don't know. Basically, not light and darkness, it's not like that, but one twin will turn out to be evil and the other will turn out to be good. And there are several other families that they all, every generation, not every generation, but I think it's every third generation, they have a set of twins. And so all these twins are around the same age and they pick sides. So it's going to be 5 against 5, the good fighting the bad. And there's sort of like this fight when they get old enough to decide what side they are on. And with the Lightwoods, with Tom and Jonathan, they have already chosen their sides, they say. And Jonathan is evil and Tom is good. And unfortunately, obviously, Jonathan and Lo sort of hit it off because they're a lot alike. And so there is this big problem that Lo is supposed to have Tom's back because they are bonded together, even though he does not love her, and it's supposed to be like this, you know, sort of magnificent bond made out of love. And so she sort of wants to gravitate toward Jonathan, but Jonathan is the evil twin, and, you know, he's comfortable being evil because there are things in the past, obviously, that made them kind of do this choice. Well, Jonathan has decided to come back to Pennington Bay, and that is where our story thickens quite a bit, and obviously Lo does not want him to travel down this evil path because Lo wants him. So she has to both try and figure out how to save Jonathan without condemning Tom to be evil, because she doesn't hate Tom or anything like that, but she doesn't want either of them to be evil. So, in a very roundabout way, that's kind of a lot of what the story is about, without spoiling too much for you, I hope. I just have to read and find out who changes what, how it all ends. I will tell you there's going to be a sequel, so just hold on there after you finish it. When I wrote this book, why did I write this book? It had to do with love triangles. I have this love-hate relationship with love triangles. Obviously, you cannot look away when one is like train wrecking before your eyes and you're just like, you know, who will they choose and stuff. What my problem with love triangles is when, you know, it's always with a girl, for one thing. I would love to see a story with a love triangle where it's the boy that is like angsty and the girls are all like, pick me, pick me. Seriously, I had like one page of a book written about that sort of situation, but will that get written? I don't know. It was a long time ago. But I basically wanted a love story where, with a love triangle, where the girl was not like actually in love with both of them, trying to choose between them. Because I don't like that. I don't like when a person, your main character that you're supposed to like side with and sort of admire and really be on their side, is in love with two people and really angsty, and you know, they always end up hurting one of them or waffling, or depending on if you watch something like True Blood or whatever, having sex with them and then like running to the other one or whatever. I don't know, it bothers me. It makes me like the main character less. So basically it's not a book where the main character is, you know, innocent of all of this, but Lo kind of falls for Jonathan, and she, you know, it's basically not both the boys are in love with her and she's not in love with both of the boys. She kind of has like respect for Tom and everything, and she has like a crush on him at the beginning, but then it kind of turns into a how can she save him even though he made this mistake of bonding with her when he should not have. So it's like a love triangle, but it's not as super intense, but I think that you'll still find it intense enough to keep reading. At least I certainly hope so, because, I don't know. I'm making it sound like there's not a love triangle at all now, but there sort of is. I guess you have to read so you can feel a little less confused, because I am confusing myself right here. So, the Lightwood Legacy. You can find the links to it below, as always, toward my blog, and you can subscribe to my channel for more news. Have a good night.